we'll now have a very interesting hour to spend together. We have the session called Ignite. I'm sure you're all familiar with this one. And I call on stage Jared, who's the curator of this Ignite session, and he's a founder and CEO of Awayfine. So just during a few minutes, let's start with Awayfine before we speak about Ignite. What's Awayfine? What are you doing?
Awayfine is an email application that helps people to get away from their email. So we notify you of really timely communications. Like if a speaker here was late and he emailed me, I'd get an alert that says, "Hey, Jared, where am I supposed to be?"
Okay, I think we all know. We all need this app. Okay, and what about Ignite? So how was the process? How many people did request to present on stage this year?
Sure. So just as background for Ignite, there was this movement in Japan called Peichakucha, which was this whole concept of very visual presentations where the slides automatically rotate. O'Reilly Media picked it up about maybe 7, 8 years ago. I guess, Brady Forrest started bringing it to the Portland area. And it's 5 minutes, 20 slides, automatically rotating. And we had maybe 40 people that applied this year for LeWeb. We had some fantastic submissions across a range of topics. And about half the topics here are Internet of Things, but a lot of people just sharing their passions.
Cool, very different things. So I will let you moderate the thing, and pretty exciting to see all the presentation. Thank you, Jared.
Thank you, Cedric.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you all for coming up here tonight. Excuse me, not tonight. I'm so used to being here in the evening. Thanks for all braving after the parties, coming here and having some chance to see some great speakers. So first, I'd like to welcome up to the stage Maarten Schenk. Hi, Maarten. Hi, and you already have a mic.
Hi.
Great to have you up here. So Maarten here is an independent website developer, but actually, out of curiosity, how many of you have been to LeWeb before? Show of hands. 2 LeWebs. 3 LeWebs? 4? 5? Well, this man has been to every LeWeb, and he's going to talk about that. He also has a really great site, a recent site called You Ask It, which is kind of like the Twitter version of Chat Roulette. So I'll let Maarten here take over. Maarten Schenk.
OK, so it looks like they already skipped my first slide. That's a good beginning. So the year was 2005, and I was working at 6 Apart Europe for Loïc Lemeur. And we all got an email saying that we had to invite all our contacts to a little event he was organizing in Paris called Les Blogs. So this normal people then hire a meeting room at a hotel, but he got us the French Senate, which is a cool building, but unfortunately they didn't have any coffee. They did have Wi-Fi, but it was just a single router, as you saw at the previous slide, so I'm trying to catch up like mad. So this is what we had instead of Twitter. We were using good old IRC to have a back channel to discuss what they were saying. But you didn't really need it because this was the size of the entire audience back then, so you could just reach around and hand a note. And some other traditions that got started at the first LeWeb was the after party. Back then, you could still get in without an invitation. And when your boss starts doing stuff like this, then you shout, "I'm blogging this." And that's also the last time I ever wore a tie at LeWeb. So it was a great success, this first edition of Les Blogs. So Loïc immediately set about organizing a second edition in Paris later that year in December. So he got a different venue so there could be more people. And also he decided to fix once and for all, to fix the problem with the Wi-Fi, to make sure that there would never be problems with it again. So he just doubled the capacity of the Wi-Fi. So some other traditions that got started at this edition were photoshopping the logo if something funny happened, and also having something controversial happen on the stage, like a speaker insulting a member of the audience, like Mina Trott here, who called one of our major customers an asshole live on stage back then. And of course, another tradition that was also started was bitching about the catering. Some people were complaining that there was not enough food. And you see Mark Cantor falling asleep, so they made les. So the year after, he increased the numbering, so it was the third event, but he changed the name to LeWeb, like it is now, and he got an even bigger venue. But the traditions remained the same, so we had some controversial stuff happen on stage and some interesting guests, like Shimon Peres and Nicolas Sarkozy, that were added at the latest moment. And as you see, immediately the photoshops of the logo started appearing. But there was also technology back then. We didn't have any of that fancy schmancy web streaming back then. No, just a webcam and FTP, and you're all set. You had to be creative with the camera placement if a supermodel sat down in front of you, like happened to me that year. Also, I saw the first time somebody type in 140 characters in what he called a microblog. I was sure that was never going to take off. So the next year at LeWeb 307 4th edition, officially the most confusingly named, Loic got some better video gear, and he also moved the venue again to where we are today. So there could be even more people in the audience. And that guy I saw typing stuff into his microblog turned out to have been F. Williams of Twitter, who was on stage that year to talk about all the great things he was doing with Twitter that year. So the next year, they dropped the 3 from the name, so it became LeWeb. They cut that 3 in half, they rotated it, and they stuck it in the sign of the cloakroom, which also became another tradition, as we will see later. But the other traditions remained the same, so we had controversy with Michael Arrington insulting the European work ethic and almost not getting invited back. The Wi-Fi broke down, there was too few food, so you see one of the rare photos of food that year before it all disappeared. But the next year, at least, the Wi-Fi worked, but it went down. Michael Arrington got invited back, and through some very innovative time travel technology, they managed to have LeWeb 09 in December of 2008 back then. So then there was LeWeb 10, when Loic took a very special costume from the cloakroom, because it was so cold and snowing. And of course, as you can see in the top corner, the Wi-Fi was down again. So that's a big theme at LeWeb, the Wi-Fi going up and down. Because LeWeb 11, one of my favorite editions with a great party where the Ting Tings were performing and Karl Lagerfeld on stage as a great speaker. And also you can see in that totally not faked photo there in the top right corner that the Wi-Fi was down again. And then earlier this year, this is the second year with 2 editions, so it's not the first time. We were in London, where the musical entertainment was even better with Lindsey Stirling. And because it was happening in a converted church building, there was a huge pipe organ on the stage, which was nice. And I hope to see all of you at the next LeWeb in London.
Thank you so much, Maarten.